Hello, everyone. This is
Hello,
Mario
good
Hardy.
evening.
It's Mario Hardy, aka DJ Rad Top, with Eric and Marcella.
Hello.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Um, I see she. Oh, she did. The link was sent in a group thing. Let me let her know that. She just she just asked, "Where's the link?"
Oh,
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today's show, what we're talking about today is pretty much, are you with or against society? And I think those are things that people have to understand. When the way things are changed in 2023, those things don't exist anymore like they did back when we were growing up. Like all of us back when we were growing up as young adults, young kids, we all automatically gave respect to our elders. That doesn't work anymore. Society has changed to where a lot of things that were just the right thing to do, society just now no longer practices that or no longer supports that. So that's going to be the kind of like the topic, and we're going to have a variety of different, pretty much different examples of how either you're with society or against society. So Marcella, Eric, what is your intake on that?
well, for me, I think that asking the question, "Are you with society or against society?" I think it's based on the individual, but then as a whole, I think that um, society has piggybacked so much off of everything everybody else is doing to where it's like things that are like you said, like Mario just said, respecting our elders and stuff like that. Now that's not the norm. And also being a for society or against society is like, for instance, like with teenagers and stuff like that, or parents having to go to the schools or even going to the next door neighbor house if your child do something. Now you can't even, say anything to the child because, the parent, wants to fight you. And so that's where the society have changed because when we was growing up, you know, um, you could go talk to my mom or
Excuse
my
me.
dad about anything that we did or we did in the neighborhood. So I think we normalize, we normalize like bad behavior or we normalize things, people just jumping on board just because that's what everybody else is doing. So for the most part, I think that a lot of us are um, against society when it comes to like doing the right thing.
For me, it is along the same premise. It's like first you took prayer out of school, then you can't say this, then you can't do that. So now schools are in chaos, and no one wants to stand firm. Like the ones who supposed to, the ones appointed over them, won't stand up and say this is what we need to do, and this is how we're going to handle it. This society is a reactive society. Nobody wants to prevent anything. They just want to wait till something happens, then say, "Oh yeah, we're going to do this now." And another thing that I disagree with is either you is taking this First Amendment and mixing it up and making it your own thing. If you're allowed to say something, then say it. But don't, like society now, don't say it and then everybody will agree with it, or we're gonna cyberbully. The same thing that you say we're not supposed to be doing is what you're doing. You don't agree with this, so this is what you're doing, this is that, this is this, and it's just, it's crazy. It makes you not even want to look at the news. It 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 just blows my mind. Okay, so you don't agree with DJ Ragtop. Okay, cool. We don't. Well, you're gonna agree with him, or you're gonna do this, this, and this. Tell me what you think about him, and you're gonna like it. And that's not how it used to be. It used to be is you either you agree or disagree. Now it's they're forcing these opinions down your throat, not letting you up for air.
I want to say something else too. I also think that society, people, people depend on society to help them decide on a decision that is based on what they think. And what I mean by that is like, it's like I had a conversation with someone today, and they say regardless of whether the issue that is at hand and what we're talking about is right or wrong, society says, and I'm not based on a society says type of person. I'm based on what's right and the principles and stuff like that. And that's why I said we go back to normalizing the things that society said. It's like society is going to dictate how you think. Society is going to dictate the decisions that you make. Society is going to dictate, you choosing, what's good and what's bad. So I think it's based on, the individuals when it comes to, are we for society or are we against the society? And I think the majority rules because they feel like, well, this is what everybody feels. This is the majority, so I think that's what we're going to go with, even if it's not right.
Well, I think, like, for me, if you just take a good look at history and look at how society have an impact on what's right from wrong, you go all the way back to go all as far back as slavery. Okay, society said slavery was legal. Society said like it's okay to treat Black people bad. It's okay to treat Black people. Now you come up to now. I mean, just look at and I tell people this is that society has a major impact on things. When September 11th happened in 2001, how did we all change as a society?
Mm-hmm.
We all became one stronger nation because we was pretty much focused towards one enemy. Now you look at within 20 years, we get a president that takes us back to the 1960s and 70s, and we were a divided nation all over again. So society has a major intake, but it's based on how people promote the things going on in society. Media has become probably the worst enemy of society because their agenda is to promote stuff to get ratings. And now our society is based on what's the hot thing on social media, what's the hot thing in the news, and that has an impact on everything. And I think that's where when we didn't have the internet, when we didn't have any connections, society was a better place for all of us.
Yes, it was.
Now that there's so much information, there's so much misleading information, there's so much stuff out there to where it's like it's easy to promote the wrong things in society. That's just my intake on it because we changed. I mean, I look at just the last 20 years on how we went where we were a strong nation because we were hit and attacked from an outside enemy. And then we have our own internal enemy when you had a president that came in and promoted hatred, like back in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
And what reason why that became a big issue is because there was so much media promoting all the negativity. And that's where some people, I mean, believe it or not, a lot of people had to take mental breaks away from social media because there was just that much bad information being put out there. So to me, society is changing it because technology is making it easier to promote or for someone to hijack what's important in society.
True. Hey,
Tisha, how you doing?
Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody.
Tuesday.
So the question we asked was, what is your intake about society? Are you with it or against it as of today? Do you think it's a healthier place compared to back in the days?
So I'm kind of on the fence because a little bit has made society a little bit better because we're able to get information in real time. And then we're also able to cipher through fact and fiction as well. Whereas in before, a while back, we didn't have access to stuff for ourselves. We would have to, it would take weeks to get news from New York or New Jersey. Like everything now we can see for ourselves in real time and make a decision about how we want to process that information. So Before we relied heavily on the news without being able to go back and look at the actual transcript of what was actually said. Or if it's something going on in Fayetteville and I'm hearing Augusta, I can Google and make sure y'all all right, or immediately say, hey, y'all okay. Like, that's the part that I love about where we are now from a technology perspective. We all can be experts in whatever subject we want to be an expert in, right? Now I do like that part of it. I do think for some people who don't have an open mindset, it is dumbing the society down, because not everybody is a why person. Not everybody's going to go out there and research like I may do, or like you all may do. They're going to, like Mario said, or like Marcella was saying too, they're going to just go off of whatever negativity they see and feed off that. But I think what we can make an impact is having conversations like this and saying, hey, instead of taking a break, find a solution. Like, let's look at it from, because this is not going to change. We're not going to default back to what we used to be. We're only going to evolve forward, and it's going to be more in our face information. So what I did during the adult timeout, which was the pandemic, instead of not embracing the technology, I embraced it to help grow my business and learned how to use Zoom, Teams, Microsoft Teams, stuff like, what even us streaming now with the podcast, that type of stuff. So I embraced that part of it, so that I could grow my business and make things convenient for myself as well as others. So I used it in a way to say, no excuses. I'm gonna still get out here and do what I gotta do to be successful. So I think in certain ways we do have to embrace society. Now, as far as these trends with the expensive this, that, and keeping up with celebrities, no, I'm not embracing that part. I didn't do that without social media. I'm not gonna run out here and buy $1,000 purse because so and so carried it or branded it or whatever. No, that part, they can keep that part. Look. But the real time, real news, I'll take that any day. But the keeping up, as I said back in the day with the Joneses, no thank you. Look, they can keep that part. And then I don't know if you guys realize it too, like in real time, we can see stuff like there was a march on the Capitol this weekend.
Right.
That
I saw
wasn't
that.
on
Yeah.
the news, right? That wasn't on the news, but you were able to still see that that's happening. If you think about even some of the violence and the crime that has happened against us as Black people, if it wasn't for social media, some of those people would have never been brought to justice.
Right.
So we have to look at the good in being able to see things in real time, as well as the filter out what you don't need. Look.
Right. And I think that's, you hit it dead on the nose, because during that, like you said, during that time that I'm gonna say, what is it that you kind of
Adult timeout.
adult timeout, pretty much we got a chance to see a lot in technology. And then some people enhanced themselves, some people downgraded themselves based off of what they were learning from technology. And I think that's one of those biggest things. It was a rude awakening for those that weren't in technology. You got a crash course on how technology now controls society. If you're not in tech, you're getting left behind. And that's one of those biggest things in society, is that a lot of people are falling off to the left and to the right because they refuse to embrace technology. Just like what you just said about that what is it, the white, whatever, it was like white supremacy. A lot of people that were saying white supremacy march on DC on Sunday. I saw that on social media, but I didn't see it anywhere on the news.
Nowhere on the news.
Nowhere on the news. So
Nowhere on the news.
that's one of those things to where, like, technology is a great thing, but it's also it can be easily used for bad things. Just like right now, you go to some of these other, like, again, some of these platforms like Newsmax, which Newsmax is 10 times worse than Fox News. So it's just like I said, the truth no longer sets the standard anymore when it comes to, because technology makes it easy for anyone to develop their own platform and tell their own story.
Exactly. And the other part too that we have to realize, it was an eye opener to me, for me not to have my head in the sand and think that we're progressively move forward to a place that we haven't. And so to me, it allows you to stay in reality of, we still got a lot of work to do. That's what it exposes to me daily, because you still see the discrimination. We can't even get a bill passed to protect us as Black people. Just different things that we would not have been able to see back in the day if we didn't have access to it. Now we could pretty much Google anything and sort through it and decide what's true and what's false. We didn't have access to that before. So my thing is, am I for society? Not when it has to do with, like you said, promoting hate, negativity, and not progressively moving us forward. But I stand with the moving forward part, because we have to. We can't stand still anymore. We've got to be able to move forward, and we need to leverage and take advantage of the fact that we do have so much access to information.
Right.
And also too, society is who we are, and society is what we are. And without society, like you said, there wouldn't be a whole lot of things like technology and people being able to stand in the gap and say what's right and what's wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And even with society, like some of the things she was saying, I agree with society, but not with when the things are bad. Like even dating, you know what I'm saying? It's like
Mm-hmm.
somebody said, like, go back to the old school way of dating, like meeting someone, like just walking down the street or going to the park or at the grocery store. But society has it so have it to where technology, you're allowed to get on certain dating sites and meet people, and people feel like it's okay because maybe you might have that one that meets someone and you never know what type of person that is, and then they end up dead somewhere. But then you might have the other person that meets someone, and that can be their soulmate. So society as a whole is gonna make it seem like it's okay to get on dating sites to meet people because of their good experience. But we do have those ones where, like what is it called, the Craigslist killer? You remember that, Leo? Yeah, the Craigslist killer and stuff like that. So we just have to pick and choose when it comes to society, like how do we fit into that? You know what I'm saying? And like Tisha was saying again, and like I said earlier, the part that's not good, the part that, like you said, that we don't see, that affect us as Black people, I don't agree with that. Like you said, the march on the Capitol, when they did that, you didn't really see that in the news. But anytime something happens with us, society gonna know. Every society's gonna know every time something happens with us. They're gonna show pictures. They're gonna put our names. They're gonna go all the way back to our history. But when certain other races and stuff do things, it's always allegedly, and there's no face and there's no name.
So the downfall of society is or trends. These ignorant trends that people are doing, and when that's the trend, when that's the flavor of the month, they expect you to do it. Okay, I challenge Tisha to the ice bucket challenge, bro. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. It's like you alluded to earlier, which is where we gotta sift through the good and the bad and hold on to the good and just push the bad in file 13. They're not thinking it all the way through. Or if the flavor of the month, that like now, electric cars. They push all type of electric cars down your throat. Electric car, but they don't tell you what comes with that. The weight, the maintenance, the electricity. Okay, so a lot of times these cars, you have to get a charger for your house. You got to have the space on your panel to be able to do that. And those cars are heavy. There's a possibility of it falling through the floor, but they don't tell you that. It's the flavor of the month. So you go run and go spend your $85,000 for your Tesla, only to find out you can't charge in the wintertime because the door to the charger is frozen. Or you don't get your same mileage in the wintertime. or driving to the light and your tire fell off. It blows my mind how many recalls that we're having now, and these are for the newer cars. Oh yeah, park your car, park your Cherokee outside. It might catch on fire even with the engine turned off. What? It's like these. It's like the trend, the bad trend. They want you to follow it, but then when you try to question stuff, oh, we already got a fix out for that. Don't worry about that. Just park outside. Well, maybe I don't want to park my vehicle outside. When are you gonna fix it? How long before you do a recall? Because everybody knows when you take your car to a dealership for a recall, that means you're not paying money, so you go to the bottom of the list. And they might tell you they'll get to it today, or it might be 2 weeks behind. But if you go in there paying money to get it fixed, oh, we're going to get you in and out. Yeah, we come see you right now. It's just a constant battle of picking the good from the bad.
And I think, Gary, you gave a perfect example of what Patrick is talking about. Patrick, pretty much, he says, I think the issues with people telling their own story opinion has a greater influence on watchers because critical thinking is not taught nor embraced in schools, and even at the college level, many don't embrace critical thinking. Yes. And what you just gave was a perfect example of people are not looking at the critical thinking process to analyze the evidence, to get a little bit more deeper into what the served value of that person's, what they're saying or what they're doing, or in some cases what they're advertising. Critical thinking is not, I know that's something that they teach us in the military. Yes. Is to evaluate like risk assessment. I mean, that's risk assessment is one of those things that's critical. That's taught for all leadership, is to assess the situation, analyze it, look at the facts, look at the evidence, understand what works best. That's not something, I mean, coming up in any type of, and I said the military because that's where I came up, but any type of I should say any type of platform that teaches leadership, they teach critical thinking. And critical thinking is not like it used to be. And I think that, like what Patrick's saying, I think that is the big issue, is no one's like not looking at, if I'm going to go out and buy an electric car, just like you were just saying, are they looking at the whole understanding of what comes with that headache or what comes with that situation? So society has pretty much made it easier for us not to think as much.
Yes.
Everything is easy access. Everything is and zap is microwave right there for you. Where if you had to take a little bit more time to understand it. Now, again, technology helps us do that though. If you're using it, it works in a benefit. So I agree. I'm right there on the fence with it as well, because it's like it's a double-edged sword. It gets you both ways. Depends on how you use it.
Well, believe it or not, I had called my husband into the room because Trump truly, I couldn't believe it. He made a good point. He was saying the same thing my husband was saying. He was like, y'all want us to go out here, y'all coming out with all these electric cars. Y'all want us to go out here and buy these electric cars. He said, but have y'all thought about it? He said, then you have all these charging ports. He said, there's not going to be enough charging ports. He said it takes at least 3 or 4 hours to charge your car. Then people are going to be fighting over the charging port. They're going to feel like you took so long. It's going to be a disaster, which is so true. So I thought at that point in time, it was critical that what he thought about, because I was like, yeah, that's so true. It's like, y'all, society, they make laws and they make rules and they just feel like this is what it is and this is what it's going to be. So since it's part of law, it's part of law of the lands, it's part of the rules, it's part of whatever the government says, society's supposed to just jump on board and go with whatever it is, whether it's right or wrong.
Well, and I think that's where, again, it goes back to who's actually navigating technology. When it comes, and I say now, who controls technology controls the narration of what's going on. And so if you have a stronger platform that's putting out more information, like let's say, for example, advertisement. If you're constantly spending money to advertise what your agenda is and what you're trying to achieve, then you control society to a certain degree. But then you got some people who disconnect themselves from technology, from the social media, because they don't want to live. Because we went from once upon a time, everybody lived in their own little pond, and everybody was happy with that. Now everybody's being thrown into the ocean, regardless if you want to or not, because that's how drastic things have changed in society. Is you have an ocean worth of information that you have full access to an ocean, where before we only had access to a pond, which is our local area, our local community. Now you have access to everything that's going on into the world. It wasn't that easy once upon a time to reach out and see that we got crazy stuff going on. You got Israel and Pakistan. I think it's Pakistan. Make sure I say it right. But they're going back and forth with each other. You got all these different things where you had a school shooting in another country. We've never heard of another shooting in another country before. But all that information, all that access is out there. And then you got like these fake platforms. Of course, during the time of the what's that got the President Orange guy, with him, it was just like I can't think of his name at the moment.
Trump.
Yeah, Trump. All the bad information. It's like everything is being flooded with bad information. I mean, he promoted so much more false information to where critical thinking was being destroyed. People weren't looking at the evidence. They weren't looking at facts. All that stuff went aside. Then what was it? What was the word that they used? The alternate right, or not alternate right, but the it was a term that they kept seeing. It's like it wasn't the right thing, but it was the whatever. Well, I have to look it up again. But it was something facts, something alternative facts, I think is what they were calling it. Which alternative facts were pretty much lies.
Mm-hmm.
Is your mic working?
Your mic.
Your mic is not working. Tisha, your mic is not working. I see your lips moving, but I don't hear nothing.
Oh, no. Tisha.
Tisha,
She just a talking away.
Yeah.
It's on. You just can't hear. It could be her internet.
Yeah, or connection.
She might want to shut down and start over.
We can't hear you.
Okay.
She went,
Yeah. So
I was like, no, we couldn't hear her. So.
yeah, it's just a constant sifting through all the BS that happens on a day-to-day basis.
Am I back?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
I
better.
heard you. Okay. I saw your mouth moving. I was like, I don't hear nothing though. Okay.
I was saying about another thing too, like you said, with the critical thinking. We didn't think about that when people started putting all these solar panels and stuff on their house too. That was another thing that was influenced by society. But if you go dig into it, you're not thinking about your shingles are still on your roof. You're not thinking about your you still gonna have an electric bill. Are you gonna out and out pay for the solar panels, or are you gonna rent them? Therefore, you would still have a bill.
Right.
So, like we said, society, along with the electric cars, with the solar panels, they try to influence you to do all these things, claiming it's gonna be cheaper and better. But for who? In the long run, if I gotta get a new roof in one section of my house because these panels are too heavy, or it don't work. Like you said, the wintertime, the time of the year make a difference. So in the wintertime, the sun is not out as much. So am I going to end up with an astronomical bill in the winter still? Like, to me, those are all my way of thinking through something. Like, it's no different than, to me, everybody has made gambling so popular. I'm sorry, I can't make it work. If I won $40,000, I'm looking at all my losses and what it took for me to win that $40,000 to go gambling. You know what I mean? So it's like Patrick and like we're all saying, the critical thinking is out the window. And I'm sorry, a lot of it is TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why it's banned in China.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't look at the bigger picture. I had this talk with someone because you got your children on TikTok. They don't allow their kids in China to use TikTok.
No.
And there's a reason. It's because that dopamine that we need in our brains to feel real good, children are developing that. We as adults struggle with it, but kids are really still developing their mind. And so, do you want their mind consumed with who's jumping off a skateboard? Like Eric said, the ice bucket challenge. A child just died last month from some kind of hot pepper challenge or something. You know, they're getting all this stuff at them on these TikToks and stuff. I don't allow my child to have social media. He's 10. He doesn't have any social media. He doesn't even have his phone during the weekday when it's school time. I think, again, society, if we use it properly, can be good, but we still have to parent at home too.
Yeah.
Like we can't let the ball drop and just let society parent our kids either. You know, you got to have open communication at home. And I think that's a big missing piece. Are you having game night? Are you having no social media time with your kids where you're talking and interacting with your children to find out what's going on? I'm not going to lie. I picture myself doing this all the time, even at the dinner table with my phone, just constantly out. And so now we went back to no phones at the table.
That's technology. That's technology. The world is changing. The world is society, and the world itself is changing into a digital world. And that's one of the things that I would say, like when I started my company, I call it Digital World because I saw that is what we're changing into. We're evolving into a world where everything's based on digital. And if you're not a part of that, you're getting left behind. You're being taken advantage of. Like right now, most of our older generations are easily targeted because they're not keeping up with the times. They're not paying attention. Like a lot of stuff that we see on like people taking your, like stealing your identity. Like North Carolina is the #1 state for scams. And majority of people that are getting scammed are older.
Yeah.
Most of the people that are getting scammed are over 50. And why is that? Because society is forcing you to, if you're not part of the digital world,
you got to become a part of it.
You're going to become a target, or you're going to become a victim of it.
Yep.
And I think that's how society is. So like, to me, society has changed for the best, but at the same time, it's becoming the worst because it's now becoming easier for everything. Easier to learn and easier to be taken advantage of.
Right. Because we had someone here last week get taken for $150,000, 73-year-old.
Wow.
It was something with his internet, and they kept telling him, no, that card isn't working. You got to send us another, or we're going to cut off your phone. And you know how you have all your stuff bundled. And when you read the story, the poor person, he didn't know, and he just kept giving them different information, and the whole time they were scamming.
Right.
Yeah.
So you gotta like you said, you either gonna embrace it and be smart with it. But I think maybe what we can do too is make sure we're reaching back to the elderly people.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a program that needs to be started to go into the nursing homes and stuff and teach them how to use technology, or that should be a part of the training or a part of them being in a nursing home, because they're in those homes with those smartphones. So they have access to all of that, you know.
Yeah. It was when I was visiting my dad, it was I was showing him something about cars on a computer, and all of a sudden, boom, your computer has been flagged by the FBI. You need to send $500 to this number, or we're gonna send people to your door. And we tried to click out, and it wouldn't. He said, "What in the world, son?" I said, "Okay, I know how to fix this." Turned the computer off and rebooted it, and it was gone away. How many people would have just fell for that? You know, the FBI, but we don't. We're so involved in the technology, the critical thinking. The FBI ain't gonna send no little message through a bubble on your computer saying that we need to talk to you. The IRS ain't gonna call you and say, "Boy, you messed up on these taxes. We want our money."
They're gonna send you a letter.
They're gonna send you a letter, a formal letter, to let you know this is who they are, and to this is what you need to do, and then you go from there. Don't
Mhm.
and it's sad that mortgage companies, banks, and all are sending you letters and letting you know, hey, stop the madness. We will not contact you by phone. We will not do that. This is what we will do in case we need to contact you.
Right.
But I'm gonna
every
share
day
with y'all
people
that's
falling for it.
that's been going on with the people getting scammed ever since it got really bad when we started getting debit cards.
Right.
Yes.
So
It made
that's
it
when
easy.
it really like took off, and you would see more and more fraud on people's accounts and stuff. Back in the 90s, when we started pushing really super hard for those debit cards, that's when it really, and it's just progressed forwardly since then and more aggressive with it. But Patrick talked about, and that's what I was saying about the TikTok. He mentioned
Right. That's
that
what I was saying,
you
yeah.
should mention that because TikTok is a Chinese program, which I've done my research. Only their version uses program that allows them to only see positive messages related to China. Our algorithm is, according to a few government resources, shows that it is designed to show politically charged stories and divisive content. So if you look on there, I have friends, I don't know about you guys, they're constantly pushing stuff into my inbox about TikTok, all these silly videos, all this stupid stuff that and I mean, these people spend hours on here sending me just stupid stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to see all that. You know, a couple of few laughs, yeah, but after a while, it's just too much.
Right.
You know, and I saw an interview the other day where they were saying they were asking young kids what do they want to be when they grow up, and they say influencers now,
Yeah. Yeah.
not doctors, lawyers,
Influence.
influencers. So that's something else society has taught them: fast money.
And
Right.
that's padded too. A lot of them people that you call influencers are just smoking mirrors. It just made to look. People are losing their lives over a like.
Mm-hmm.
So you mean to tell me that you see somebody? What was that trend? The kid in the shower, something about a lighter or something.
Yeah, like
They suck the fume from the lighter fluid and then light it. And I'm like, what part of that do you think was cool? That you can get yourself third-degree burn from that.
Right. Absolutely.
Or that game they were playing, choking themselves till they almost
Pass out.
till they pass out. And a lot of them died from that. What are you doing?
Or the jumpers, the jumpers, people that jump on buildings and stuff like that. Where the Chinese guy, he fell to his death. He was up on a high rise and he jumped to another one. He tried to jump and he
Like
fell.
tumbling.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Went to his death. That type of stuff. Because I know, like you said, with these challenges and stuff like that with society, somebody, I ain't gonna say their name, but they got on there and said, I challenged Marcella Bostic. And I said, you have lost your mind. One thing about me, like I was talking to Mario earlier, I'm not like when it comes to society and stuff like that, I'm not that type of person to where I'm just gonna do something because everybody else is doing it. That's just, like I said, the logic. I think about the logic in it. You know what I'm saying? I think realistically, no, that's not like even a crate challenge. I remember the crate challenge.
Yeah.
So high and it was breaking
Getting up there.
stuff.
I mean, it's just like what it's like. And see, this is the problem with our society.
Wow.
And our elders who have all the wisdom,
I mean,
cannot.
Yeah.
They're not in the technology. They're not in the technology world. So who controls the technology? Who controls the digital world? Young people.
Young people.
So young people are finding they don't want to work hard for money anymore.
No.
They don't want, everything is a shortcut. So like all these people like I remember when YouTube was, if you get on YouTube and if you have a good YouTube channel, you'll start getting paid after you get so many hits and so many. So then you have all these people wasting their time
on YouTube.
Trying to get that. Like, the thing is, they're not telling you that there's only but two, maybe like out of 100 people, maybe 4 or 5 of those 100 people are the ones making it big on YouTube.
Yes.
They're not telling them all the details. So it's like the critical thinking process, like what Patrick said earlier, is people are not trying to look at how it's supposed to be done or what's supposed to, the evidence, the analyzing the evidence on, is this effective? Is this going to work? Is this worth wasting my time on? that process is no longer there. So everything now in the society is a quick, fast solution to everything. Take customer service. Customer service now has become so bad. Huh?
We check ourselves out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Just about everywhere you go, you are the customer and the service.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, so if you look, if you're giving yourself a bad review, you got some issues, you know.
Right.
And that's why, I mean, and I'll be honest, I like, why is it like when you go to Walmart, I'm going to call Walmart out. You go in, you check it out. Well, rate yourself. Why am I going to rate myself? Why would I mean, you know, if you ever look after you check out,
Oh yeah, they have
the
the
little
little
stars.
stars.
The stars. I'm like, what? I'm gonna rate myself now? Like,
No, they want you to rate. They want you to rate how well you were able to find the things in the store. Were your things available?
Well, I never saw. I see the day that Dollar Tree has a self checkout, child.
Huh?
Dollar Tree. I never saw that. I thought Dollar Tree was gonna have a self checkout. Now Dollar Tree don't even have cashiers no more.
They got self checkout at Dollar Tree?
Yeah. Almost every store has them now.
Yep, sure do.
Almost every store has them.
We don't have that yet here.
Oh, it's coming, honey.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Well, hey, CVS, Walgreens, everybody else got it. So I mean, again, society has influenced that.
And then the critical thinking part of it is they're not thinking it through because you still need human beings to monitor the thing.
But not as many.
Not as many, but you
Not
still
as many.
do. Because see, then now, looking forward, now you got to talk about pay. I'm not going to stand around there looking at a computer all day for this, and this. But they don't care. This is what we want. Go get the electric car. This is what we want.
It's the trend.
Self-checkout. It's a trend. It's a trend. And if you don't follow the trend, well, we're going to cyberbully you and you're going to be forced to do it. We're going to force you to go. No.
Well, and going back to something Marcella said, as a single person dating, so many of my friends have tried to influence me to date online. If I can meet crazy people in a normal setting, I just don't know that I want to take my chances online. And I did go on the Christian Mingle thing, and I went on one date from the Christian Mingle, and the man showed up with a canine tooth missing, and I was over it. I was like, your profile picture didn't show that you had your whole canine tooth missing.
Wait a minute, what's a canine tooth?
That tooth right here on the side.
Yeah.
It was gone.
You messed me up with canine tooth. Like, what?
I didn't know what it was.
I like canine tooth. You act like he brought the dog with him? Like, what?
That's called your canine tooth on the side. It was missing. And he was trying to tell me he was this professional man. And so I'm like, dude, you cannot be a professional missing your canine tooth. So that was the end of the Mingle date thing for me. I was done. You got people showing toothless and stuff, no, I'm over it. So that broke me. Like I've tried it, one time. I was done.
I asked my husband, I said, babe, you know what a canine teeth weighs? I said, I didn't know that.
Look, I'm like, when she said canine tooth, like, dude brought a dog to the bed with no teeth? Like, what? I'm like, oh my God. What kind of day was that?
No, it wasn't a snaggletooth dog. It was a snaggletooth man.
He tried to Wilson, but
I was like, Lord, look, I'm like, damn, I want to be married for life. Boy, I'm telling you.
Well, Mario gonna be watching people see they got their canine teeth in their mouth.
Right. Listen,
which one is that?
Why I said, if I want to meet a snaggletooth man on the dating site, I'll just rather take my chances to meet somebody the old-fashioned traditional way, and then that way I ain't gotta waste his time. If he missing a canine tooth, he ain't getting my phone up. We not meeting nowhere. So I put the online dating down because I got scared. I was like, No, this ain't for me. So again, everything ain't for everybody. Some people have some beautiful online love stories.
Well, I think
now
you know what? But you know what?
Up with you on social media.
Yeah.
Well, you know
They
what?
ain't
But
even
that's
man
what.
enough or woman enough to tell you to your face.
But that's. But you know what? That's a perfect example.
Endeavors, what? I'm not a wrestler.
Oh my
Wait
God.
a minute. Why you?
But you know what? That's one of the things.
That's where we are right now.
Yeah.
Everything is gone. Good luck
I'm
and all
still-
your food. I didn't even work for you. I
sorry.
dated you. What
I'm
the
sorry,
fuck?
y'all. I'm still trying to get over that K9
That messed me up there.
I'm sorry, but
The roof is
That
Ow!
messed me up right
Girl,
there.
I know.
That too,
Ooh-wee.
Momo
I
and
never heard. I'm
Simon.
trying to tell
well,
you.
good. So now y'all see why I ain't on there online dating. Now,
Yeah.
Well, but you know what? That's one of the things now is like now you take technology and you take the digital world. You can be anybody.
Whoever you want to be.
You can be anybody. I can go in. If I got
Catfish.
K9 tooth missing, I'm about to hook myself up. On
yeah, and get
digital.
a tooth.
I'm gonna put a digital tooth in there. Bam. Look,
I just had to
look,
say
I'm
that.
looking like
Yeah,
Billy
so
D
that-
now. Like,
Right.
I'm gonna tell you, man. I'm gonna
Or
have
get-
real.
Get somebody else picture and catfish people.
yeah.
That next thing.
Catfish though. What does catfish got to do with you posing as somebody? I just
Because a catfish tastes good, but it don't look good.
Okay, I ain't never heard that way before. Okay.
You can take that with
Take that up. That's what I thought about. I was like, well, must be because the catfish ugly, but it tastes good.
Well, I'm telling you, we are learning today. We're learning what catfish mean, and what K9 tooth is. Boy, I'm like,
Now I'm sure what the K9 tooth is, but the catfish I made that one up because that's the only thing I come up with why it's called catfish.
Girl, that was all you did. Real quick, girl.
look, you got me now. Look, I'm about to go Google. I'm about to go
Google
Google.
Mario, see what the catfish really mean.
No, I'm about to go look up. I'm about to go look for a catfish with a K9 tooth. I'm making it interesting. So I'm making it interesting.
Woo! Look, they'll be over here in tears now. No, wait a minute now. But listen, no, that's a real thing. That catfishing thing, they got a whole show about it.
Yeah, I mean that's what it says. It says informal use is like the process of luring someone into a relationship by means of fictional online personalities.
Like a catfish.
Yeah, look ugly, but taste good.
Look ugly, but tastes good. So that person catfishing you may be really ugly, but they may be a good person.
That's true.
Because a lot of times those people done fell in love with those people that get catfished by, right? But then when they go see them, they be busted now all the way down to the ground. But they be good people. So it's like a catfish. Ugly, but tastes good.
Brutus.
I think I might need to patent now. That might be
Ugly.
So I remember the first time I was catfish. I was in Fort Benning, Georgia. And this was before computers and technology and social media.
So you did have Freddie Jackson.
I just remember this one. It was funny because this one girl was calling, and then she was made a wrong phone call, and a voice. I'm like, very, very attractive voice. I'm like, okay, this lady sounds like she's sexy and everything. So I was like, okay. I get my little Nissan Pulsar, I drive out to her address, and I see who she is, and I kept driving like, kept on going. All I know is
Stop, boy.
you got voice fished.
I got bass. That's what that was.
Throw it back. Throw it back. Just throw it back.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
We need to find some people that date on the social media. We need to find somebody that date on the social media and interview them. You can't interview me because I went on one little date with the canine tooth missing man, so I don't count.
Well,
But
you
we
know
need to find somebody who does it and see, do they get catfished a lot?
Yeah.
Like, I would love to know, like, do they really meet real people? Like, because I think some people don't be telling the truth.
Well, you know what? And I think that
worth
happens a lot.
1,000 words. So,
It's just like- Excuse
their
me.
picture is gonna say a lot. Just because some of them, if they trying too hard, the picture gonna show they trying too hard. You know what I'm saying? So it.
But Eric, the point is they're not using their own pictures; they're using
Exactly.
somebody else's.
Exactly.
Y'all remember the episode on Lord have mercy, I forgot the name. What was that crazy cartoon? The Boondocks. The Boondocks, when Granddad he's pretty much getting catfish. Per lady shows up and they show a picture of what she looked like online, and then they show a picture of what she looked like in real life. Have y'all seen that episode?
No, I didn't see that one.
Well, it was an episode about how people were pretending to be something that they weren't. And it was funny because he invited one lady over and he's constantly looking at his cell phone and looking at her. And it was just like, this ain't your picture. You know, he was just going off. This ain't you. You know, he was just going off because it was a false representation of who they were. And so that's what the digital world
That's created.
Our society has become it's become two separate things. It's become a digital world and it's called in the world of reality.
Yep.
And the digital world is controlling the world.
The reality.
And that is the biggest problem with society is because of
who's nailed it.
Right. Who's controlling the digital world? Like, let's say, for example, Chinese have taken over the youth with TikTok.
They're mine. Yep.
So, and then a lot of people don't know is you go back in the days, y'all remember how they used to compete on what country used to be the most educated, highest education? You don't hear that much anymore.
Because they done dumbed us down nothing. We got up here. We can't compete anymore. That was the thing that happened with us whenever the COVID hit. We got crippled because we weren't ready. We did not embrace technology to a point where our school systems and stuff, infrastructure at jobs and stuff, we weren't prepared. So my thing is everybody keeps saying things need to go back to how they were before the pandemic. No, we need to progressively move forward because we don't ever need to allow that to happen again.
Right.
If something ever happens again, catastrophic, and we need to shut down or whatever, we need to be prepared for that. We were ill prepared. We weren't prepared at all. Look.
Y'all remember the Y2K?
Yeah.
We were stationed in Alaska, right? So I was at work. They coming in, and I'm like, and everybody's like, oh, the world was about to end, but y'all buying all these groceries and stuff. Like, y'all buying up everything out the store. Like, what you gonna do with it? The world,
you're not gonna eat dead.
I'm like, it don't make any sense. It's like, okay, society got you thinking that this is what we need to do. We need to run and do. But like you said, that logic is not kicking in. Like, okay, well, if the world is about to end at 12:01, where's the groceries and all stuff that you're going? Where's that going with? Where's it going? I don't understand that, So you have to.
That's a perfect example. Because you think about it, when COVID hit, what's the first thing everybody was about to kill each other over?
Tissue.
Toilet tissue. It was a big
deal.
And then you have people joking about it on society because all it takes is one person. Oh, if you don't go get your bag of tissue, you're gonna be using newspaper. And automatically everybody lost their mind. So that's why
they in the stores fighting over tissue. It don't make no sense.
Yeah.
A society again controlling the narrative, and we allow it. And that's to me, that's how we ended up in that shutdown because we should have never ever even had to shut down. COVID was going to be what it was. Period.
Yeah.
Like it nothing. If you think about it, nothing's changed.
No.
We got a vaccination. Yes, we do have that. But as far as how it's spreading and moving around, it's still moving the same way.
Right.
Yeah.
It's still moving the same way.
It fell from a lack of critical thinking from the top. The top is what handled it wrong.
From the beginning.
When you were told, you played it to the left, just like the weapons of mass destruction that was never there. You were told and you played it to the left, and it just rolled downhill. And it just like even now, the world is trying to society is force you to be digital. you can't even get a computer or a laptop with an optical drive no more. You know, you go in the store if you want to. Hey, you got that latest CD? What? A who? What? Huh? See who? You don't need them no more. With all the music streaming platform you can get, and a lot of them are free, so you don't need a CD. You know, so it's like they're forcing it down your throat. Everybody want to go digital, but they're not having backup.
Nope.
Because the more digital you go, the more expensive the backup, because you got to have a local backup and you got to have an external backup. You got to have an internal backup and an external. So that means that in case your building burned down, everything that you saved is somewhere else in another location. But see, that's the critical thinking they're not telling you about.
Right.
See,
but that's one of those things that, like, now in today's society, the dumb and powerful are the ones that control the narrative.
yes.
And that is the part where the critical thinking, what Patrick said earlier, is in order to shut down dumb people, you got to be able to critical think. The individuals that, and I mean, you look at, like, let's go back and let's talk about the COVID situation. Who do we have as a leader telling us to go drink some Clorox?
Yeah.
I mean,
And people was out here dying for the first time.
you know,
I didn't know you died more than one time.
I mean,
And he's standing there looking like he's drinking Clorox. He know darn well he ain't drinking no darn Clorox.
but I
maybe
mean,
if
but
I
that's what I'm saying.
3-1, I can go on and drink it now, bro. You ain't supposed to drink Clorox, dummy.
But
Critical
that's where
thinking.
society
Think about
changed.
that. Does that
Right.
make sense?
But that's where society has changed. Is if you take somebody and give them the power
Yeah.
and the money, they control the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And see,
Yeah.
nowadays, look at all these idiots in politics. They don't care about the money anymore. They're more concerned about the power. They're going crazy just to get the power. They're lying, they're cheating, they're doing all kinds of stuff. They're making up stuff on social media. We're being attacked at the south of the border. I mean,
Yeah. He
if
off
you
his mind.
listen to all the stuff that's going on, is that we're being attacked. We're like, the Mexicans are coming to get us. Oh, we better put up a wall. We better. I mean, but then in reality, that's been like that for years. I mean, it's just like it's like the narrative is like this. It's like, how can you say that this is a problem when this has been the same problem for the last 100 years?
So true. So true.
Nothing changed.
So that's where, and that's what Patrick was saying, and that's why I agree with him. The critical thinking process is not there anymore, because if we go back and look at the facts, we look and they show it to us all the time. Anyone can Google it. The border issue has been a problem for years.
Yes.
It's not just one president. It's not just two presidents. It's all the presidents have dealt with this within the last 30 years. Yeah, it's just a talking point, and that's where the narrative is what controls society. We are letting the dumb, the powerful, and the ones with the money control the narrative.
Yeah.
Which was proven by all these people who was in power, coming up on television and social media to anybody who said, trying to say where the coronavirus came from.
Right.
I don't even want to repeat some of what they said because it's just too dumb to say.
Too ignorant.
I mean, you supposed to be a educator or somebody that's supposed to be critical thinking, and you said that.
Especially where they said it started from, and then when they said it started from, they blame these type of people. Then they blame these type of people. So everybody, they started blaming everybody. You know what I'm saying? I was like, wow.
I mean, seriously.
I mean, it's just crazy. Like over when they was putting out all the black people because they was like, it came from them. So they was putting them out of their apartments and stuff like that over in China, Korea, wherever they was at. I mean, that was just crazy stuff. It was just crazy.
Society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and the people would go back and do the research. I know when I did my research on it, it's like what the narrative was didn't match up with the facts were.
No.
No.
It never does.
That's the part that critical thinking process is missing. In the whole process, it's just like, I'll take a simple situation. You look at the money, the currency of money, right? I remember back in the day, you could write a check and you can float money for 7 days before that check. I was a subject matter expert on that situation when I first joined the military. Now technology has changed to where you can't float checks no more.
Nope.
Everything's a debit card. So everything
These children don't even know how to take a check and process it if you go to a store.
Right.
Mm-mm.
God forbid. Look, let the machines go down and see how all these fast food restaurants lose their mind.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, here it costs you $1. It costs you $1.10, or let's say 98 cents. Okay, here, I'm gonna give you $1. How much change you gonna give me back? Um, you know what? You can't figure out 98 from 100, really?
I know,
I
right?
mean, it's like that process is like they rely so much on technology at the same time to where it makes people dumb.
Yeah, because here it is now. How many? Just let's just say businesses. How many businesses have an internal and an external backup? How many?
None.
None, because what happened when they have a crash? Oh, we're not taking debit cards. Oh, no, we got to use exact change. Oh, this, oh, that.
If you don't have cash, then you know, or you know.
Don't let the internet go down.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's a whole nother beast.
Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
Everybody about to kill themselves. Oh my God.
Mm.
Oh my God. Especially when the electricity go out. Child, sometimes you just lay down and rest.
But better yet, what if you have to take everybody's cell phone away from them?
Man.
Oh Lord.
If you had to make a
Everybody-
phone, if you was forced to only make phone calls at home,
Yeah.
No, I got an even better one, y'all. So one of my friends, she just got a new car. This was hilarious. Her backup camera went out last week, and she was like, "Oh, I had to back up the old-fashioned way." What you mean the old-fashioned way? I still use my neck, you know. I got the camera. I'm just not looking at that camera and backing up. I still got my neck, you know.
I got a good one too. What if you got to go back and start turning the TV with your fingers and not no more control?
Oh,
but you know what's amazing to me is that there's movies that are putting out that they highlight our society in the future. I'm not sure if y'all remember that Disney movie. I don't think it was a Disney movie. I think it was was it the Polar? Well, it's under Disney now. But y'all remember the robot movie where I can't think of the name of it.
iRobot?
Not our robot, the little cartoon character, robot, where he's going through and like in society, all the people turn into fat people because they're all
you talking
lazy.
about I know you talking about it was a good one. No, it was he was a big old white, he was like white.
Uh-huh.
What's his name? We watched it with I can't think of the name. But I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the name right now. I know that was a good one. That was good though.
And it shows society. It shows society, and I'm looking it up now, and it just showed it showed how society had changed because all the Wall-E, that was the name of it. Wall-E.
Yeah, Wall-E. I couldn't think of
Oh,
what
yeah.
you're talking about.
So in Wall-E, it shows that how our society changed to where everybody was fat in chairs that hovered. And everybody it's like they couldn't get up, they couldn't walk because society had had simplified their process to where they couldn't physically do anything. They couldn't do anything. Everything was based off of the chair that they was sitting in. And
We almost there.
Yeah.
We're pretty much almost there because now everything is a push of a button.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Society, as one of the things I will say is society is changing to where we're becoming more lazier than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. I mean, they got robot vacuum cleaners that will go out and vacuum clean your floor.
At a set time.
Huh?
At a set time.
Yeah. You got remote control. I mean, it's got to the point now where everything has a remote control.
Mm-hmm.
Well, does anyone have a last question? Because I know Mario got another one, and we
Yeah,
got
it's
to pick up Savion.
So I mean, but today's show again, we could go on and on and on forever.
Mm-hmm.
This one.
Yes.
But we're gonna go last word. Eric, Marcel, what's your last words on this situation?
My last words is that just don't believe the hype. Just know what's going on up to date. Learn more about technology because that's what the world is going to, and don't let society dictate your thoughts.
Yes, they're shoving a whole lot of technology down your throat, but it's not for you to buy all of it. It's for you to pick what works for you and then go from there. You don't have to get the latest iPhone that comes out or the latest robot to come out.
Okay.
You just pick what works for you.
Answer right quick. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I would just say similar to you guys, use common sense, apply logic and reason.
He's ready. Okay.
Don't be easily influenced. Have a mind of your
There
own.
you go.
Yeah.
There
You know,
Mario.
that would be the biggest thing. Yep.
Mhm.
And see,
Mario.
my last one is, I mean, the biggest thing is critical thinking. No matter which way you decide to go,
Yes.
reality or digital, always critical thinking, and always keep your eye out for that dude with the K9 too.
Ah,
Yeah.
and the catfish.
He got a
And the
catfish in
catfish.
his pocket.
That was right on time, right?
All right. See y'all next week.
All right, we'll see y'all next
All
time.
right. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.